Alright, welcome back to part 2 of my top 20 favorite kaiju, and as always, this is just my personal list. If you think a kaiju should be higher or lower on that list, that's totally fine. This is just my personal list, and I'm always excited to hear yours. So, with our first half done, now we go into our second act of this list. And kicking off this list, we finally get to our first Godzilla monster. We finally get to our first kaiju from the Godzilla universe. And that is, at number 15, Biollante. So, Biollante is a lot of fun. Because the thing about Biollante is that she's very much like Godzilla. And I don't mean because she's a plant with Godzilla cells. And you could make the reasonable argument that this is the closest thing Godzilla has to a sibling. People have made the argument that technically Biollante would be considered Godzilla's half-sister at the very least. But yeah, so Biollante it's not just because of that, but also because Biollante is kind of like, depending on who's writing her, she's either the good guy or bad guy. Much like Godzilla, where Biollante, more or less, it could be the hero or the villain. Technically speaking, she wasn't the villain in the movie. In her first appearance, yeah, Godzilla wasn't the villain. I mean, Godzilla was the villain. She wasn't. She didn't attack anybody. Well, she did kill some people, but to be fair, those people were attacking her, so it was self-defense. She never actively attacked the military. She never went after anybody. She only attacked when Godzilla attacked her. So, really, she also left in peace at the end of the movie to be an immortal flower in space. Japan can be weird sometimes. Anyway, so that's what I like about her, is that, Biollante in the comics, depending on who's writing her, it could also be a mixed bag as well, because really, Biollante in Godzilla Cataclysm was trying to help humanity. She was the only one who could breathe life back into the universe. I mean, back into Earth. And Godzilla didn't want that. You also have Biollante, who is the villain in some of Rulers for Earth and other stories. But really, she's just kind of a morally gray character. And also, outside of Mothra, she's one of the three if you count Kumanga, because Kumanga's gender kind of changes throughout the movies. So 2.5, I guess you could say, like 2.5, because again, because they've said in Final Wars that Kumanga was a female in that movie. I guess I didn't get any indication of that, but so I guess you could say 2.5 kaiju that are female in all of Godzilla. So that's the other thing about Biollante that I find kind of interesting, is that she's the only other female monster outside of Mothra. Biollante also has one of the most messed up origins, that she's plant cells mixed with Godzilla cells, and also has the soul of a dead woman in there somewhere. Again, Japan can be very weird. And yeah, I always like plant-based creatures. Like, I've always enjoyed, like, kind of fun, like, plant monsters or plant creatures showing up. I've always had a fun part. I've always, like, enjoyed whenever you have a plant-based character show up, like Swamp Thing or Undergrowth from Danny Phantom. So it was really fun to see that really done in Godzilla. So there you go, Biollante at number 15. So at number 14, we have the Rhodosaurus from the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So that monster is another Harryhausen monster. It's another fun, great Harryhausen monster, and admittedly, the Rhodosaurus is nothing special. It's this false dinosaur thing that moves around like a Komodo dragon, but that movie is in of itself fun, and again, that was the big breakout moment for Harryhausen with that design, with that monster. That not only really launched his career, because he had done stuff with Willis O'Brien in the past, but that was what really launched his career, and also made some major inspirations for Godzilla and future kaiju. Like, that was a progenitor for Godzilla. If it had not been for that movie, Toho would not have gotten the inspiration to make their own monster. The Rhodosaurus himself is this big, imposing, just fierce-looking monster that, while it just kind of crawls around, it seriously does some damage, and it knows that it's the alpha predator around here. It definitely knows that it knows that what it's doing is looking for food, but at the same time, it's like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, that's kind of its mentality. And that's, again, attributing to just the stop-motion masterpiece work that Harryhausen is known for, of just doing these spectacular creatures, but also giving them, like, depth that we wouldn't see in a lot of creatures until, like, maybe motion capture or really good CGI. Like, we wouldn't get, like, those kind of motions, or we could see these creatures, like, physically emote the way, like, Harryhausen could make that stop motion go. If it like, we wouldn't see that until, like, motion capture. Yeah. So, the Rhodosaurus, yeah, number 14. So, let's move on now to our unlucky 13. And this feels pretty apt to be number 13. This monster in particular feels pretty apt to be in the 13th spot. And that is Destroya. So Destroya, another famous Godzilla kaiju. One of them, he's only had one movie, but he's left an impression, right? Like, we all agree that he has left one of the biggest impressions in all of Toho. The monster that literally was like Godzilla's doomsday. Like, and the thing is, like, that suit alone is just imposing. Like, it's just this big, imposing, like, it's literally Kaiju Satan personified. And not only that, it's literally born from the thing that killed Godzilla the first time around. It also beat Godzilla's kid to death right in front of him. It did so much and is so interconnected intrinsically to Godzilla lore that it's really hard to really, pull away from. And also, that thing is terrifying. Like, it's made from other creatures that are like xenomorph crabs. It has a flying form. It has multiple forms, all of which are designed to kill you. Like, it is all meant to kill you straight to death. To quote Superboy Prime, he'll kill you to death. That's yeah. He'll straight up murder your ass. And again, it's one of the most iconic designs for Godzilla monsters, and he's become one of the most popular despite only having one movie. Why do you think he's used so much in so many of the IDW? He was used so much in the IDW comics because he's literally one of the most popular designs, as well as literally the numero dos. A lot of people consider him the numero dos major villain to Godzilla. Of course, we all know who number one is in that regard. So, yeah. I would be remiss not to have Destroya here in some capacity. And I'll explain why this character got ahead of him. And so let's move, without further ado, let's talk about our number 12. And our number 12 is Gauss from Gamera. Now hold on, I already know what you're thinking. Are you shitting me right now? You're already like thinking to yourself, there is no way that Gauss came before Destroya. Again, first off, my list, so my opinion. I'm not saying this is the word of God or anything. I'm just saying this is just how I personally view it, so, getting that out right now. But why is Gauss so high on the list? Like, not just, forget that he's one up against Destroya, but why is Gauss so high on this list? I'll tell you why. Take in the voraciousness of the Skullcrawlers and just this unyielding numbers that the Titans have, and give it wings and sonic beams, and you have the Gauss. It's literally like nightmare fuel. Like, imagine if the Titans could fly. Some of them could. Imagine if the Skullcrawlers could fly, and also could grow to even bigger sizes than you saw in the MonsterVerse movies. Gauss, not just him, but the race itself, are literally some of the most terrifying opponents that Gamera's ever fought, because of the thing is, they spread like locusts. They slaughter everything in their path. They just live to eat. That is literally their whole purpose, is that they live to eat. There's no stopping them. There's no trying to deter them from eating. There's nothing you could do other than you have to have a giant turtle take care of the problem against them, and even then he has trouble. Because that's the thing, is that the Gauss are just not... It's like literally fighting an entire legion? That was dumb, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the scary thing about the Gauss, is that they are this just unending force of just hunger that is coming after you. Not that... Also, they have sonic beams, just cuz. And also like to live at night like fucking vampires, and also just love eating people. It's terrifying. And again, he's probably one of the most recognizable of Gamera's classic foes. And again, he's the only one out of all the Gamera monsters that managed to make it to the Heisei era and be even more scary in both the first and third movies. So yeah, if you you'd shit your pants if you saw that thing flying at you. Like, hell, he even showed up in that little preview, that Gamera preview for that 2015 movie that never showed up for the 50th anniversary. Oh, poor Gamera. Poor Gamera. So, yeah. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I put Gauss ahead, because of why I put Gauss so high on the list, was because Gauss is literally like a legion of things that eat and kill the planet. Like, their whole thing is to kill everything. And they kind of succeed in some capacity. And, yeah. They've had multiple appearances and have proven to have a lot of staying power. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of, again, it's just my opinion. So, there you go. So, let's end this video at our 11th spot. And that is, at number 11, Gargorgon from Ultraman X. Again, you're probably shocked as to why that monster is so far ahead. Especially since she didn't appear a lot in the film. Well, they kind of banty between saying it's a he or she, if I recall, in Ultraman X. But in Ultraman X, Gargorgon is this terrifying monster from a faraway planet that's literally based off of Greek mythology, in that if she opens her eye, she could literally turn you to stone with one look. And also, this kind of gives way to a lot of why A.G. Tsuburaya Productions were so good at costume making, is because it has these tiny arms and these other two heads that fire laser beams, but the arms are just dangle, and the person in the side just uses it to hit people, where the arms are in the suit, the other heads. And I thought that was such a cool idea. Again, it really proves how good Tsuburaya Productions is at making new monster suits. And it was one of the most powerful opponents that that X had ever encountered. Like, he literally needed help from another robot that he had encountered. And even though, yes, Gargorgon really just showed up for like only one, like a two-parter, that episode had some serious staying power, because Gargorgon literally tried to turn the entire planet to stone. And they only managed to beat the creature because they just got lucky. Like, they just legit got, like, holy crap, I can't, like, even at the end of the two-part story, they're like, holy crap, I can't believe that worked. Like, that was literally their mindset of, like, holy crap, I can't believe that actually, like, we pulled that off. Like, what? Yeah. So, yeah. Gargorgon at number 11. So once again, so yeah, there you go. This ends part 2 of my top 20 favorite kaiju. And again, I have to stress that if you think a kaiju should be higher or lower on the list, it's totally fine. This is just my personal list, and I'm always excited to hear yours as I share mine. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this list? And once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.